be. Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming today. I'm so thankful for Zoom and that we have this opportunity to have this platform to have wonderful people like our speaker today, Marcella Hill here. Thank you so much for being here again. I just wanted to introduce her to all of you guys and just give a little brief background, and then she will go ahead and fill us in on her amazing story. So currently, Marcella Hill is the CEO of Love Woolies and creator of the award-winning toy, the Peekaboo Bag. She has experience building a successful direct sales business. Her toy has been in over 375 stores worldwide, and now she is scaling Love Woolies from a small family operation to over $1 million corporation. Marcella infuses her life and brand with faith and addiction recovery steps. Her vulnerability and willingness to share all is what she hopes to give others permission to find what she's already in them to create. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Marcella, for being here again, and the floor is all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. What a privilege to be here. Well, I'm just going to start from way back a long time ago. I think that the entrepreneur bug was always in me. My dad showed me from a little girl's age how he would dream of remodeling cars, and he'd go get this crappy car and remodel it into this dream, beautiful car. And my dad really showed me how to take a dream and an idea and showed me how to do all the steps in between until he had something amazing. He rebuilt houses, he flipped houses, he did all these things. And so I got to live with someone watching the reality of dreams and that's possible. So I really credit my entrepreneur heart to my dad. I always wanted to build something, since Girl Scouts to starting a little cleaning business when I was 15. And it just kind of kept going from there. My first real experience with business was in direct sales. So on my 18th birthday, I started Mary Kay and would do little demos in my dorm rooms. I had walls full of product that my roommates would have to, work around. I just did whatever I had to do to hustle. Then from there, I was a personal trainer. So I built a personal training business and clients and worked in a gym. I always just wanted to do something. Then I got into a direct sales company and I went all out, and I became quite successful with that and really understood how to get outside of my comfort zone, talk to people, anybody. And I built a team. I understood how to team build. I learned how to team build with that, learned how to get into the personal development, all of those things. Then from there, I came across a toy that my friend was making, and it was a really cute toy. We called it a peekaboo bag. And I had been a nanny in New York, and I'm in Utah right now, like the mecca of handmade. If you see something, most people think, oh, I can make that. And when we saw this toy, even though everyone was hand making this toy in Utah, I knew from my experience back east that no mother in their right mind would ever look at it and think I could just make that. They would want to buy it. What was happening is here, everyone in church was hand making these bags. And one day I went to church and I could see all the kids in church had this handmade toy. And I thought, there's something here. Like, someone needs to sell this in a store, because I don't want to make one. I want to go buy one. And so what we did is we took that concept and we formulated it to where it wasn't. So the idea is that it looks like a little pillow with a window on the front, like a plastic window on the front. Imagine like a bean bag, and you would shake it up and try to find all the little pieces inside. And they would put Barbie shoes and a penny and stuff from your junk drawer in there. And I thought, why not mold all these little pieces into something that's actually interesting for kids, like a little football and a princess and a castle. And so we molded all of our pieces in a factory in China. And we started local with little crafty buttons and then eventually went to China. Some fun stories around that company is I have zero experience sourcing anything. My experience with toys was I had a 3-year-old at the time. That's all I had. So what happened is, first with that toy company, we sewed them on our sewing machines at home. And we would stand in the kitchen with funnels and we would pour the beads into the bags. And then we would have to pick out all the buttons and physically put them in and then sew them up. And we would take those to crafting boutiques and we'd sell them. From there, I was like, this is ridiculous. They're selling out. We can't keep doing this in our kitchen. So I Googled some local sewing manufacturers. I found a sewing manufacturer that happened to also make baby products. So I went to that local manufacturer and she agreed to help us make these bags. And so now we had a manufacturer that was local, and she loved the idea so much she wanted to partner with us. So she was helping to fund some of our ideas in bringing in different types of pieces, different types of fabrics. And this just happened. This just like, just slowly miracles happened. Now, I was a little, I'm a hustler. I like to sell my stuff. My passion is not in the making. My passion is in the selling. So as soon as I had a manufacturer, I did not know how much it cost me to make it. They had just given me a sample and I was so excited about this sample that I had the nerve to walk into a toy store locally. I didn't even know how stores bought stuff. Like, I didn't know if you could walk in and they would buy things. I didn't know if I was supposed to be at a market somewhere that they go to buy their things or in a catalog. I had no idea, but I thought, well, there's only one way to find out. I have to just go ask a store owner. So I remember walking into this baby boutique and I pretended like I knew what I was doing. I said, hi, is your buyer available? And the lady said, well, I buy the stuff. And I was like, great. Well, I own this toy company. There was no toy company at the time. It was just me. And I just said, well, I own this toy company. This is our, peekaboo bag. We're just launching it. And we'd love for you to be one of our first stores in the area. Sounded super legit. And she was like, these are great. She's like, well, what's the price? I literally just $7. Like, I have no idea like what we're even paying for them. I was like, $7. She's like, great, I'll take a dozen. She wrote me a check and handed it to me. It's like, great, I'll get back to you when they're ready. I did not know what it cost to make them. I didn't know when they could even be done, but I had an order. So that's the kind of business person I am. I am like a fly by the seat of your pants. Let's just get it done. And that is how Peekaboo Stuff, that's the company that actually came to be, started. From there, I came across that there was a toy audition for FAO Schwartz in New York City. Anything in New York City, I want to be there. I just have a passion for it. So what I did is I went to our manufacturer. I said, hey, if we get into this toy audition, then we are going to blow up. Maybe you could front us the money to get there. Sure. She just gave me her credit card. I booked the flight. That was random. Booked the flight. We went to New York. While we were in New York, we happened to be picked up by a toy magazine that was featuring our toy while we were there. So we got to walk into their corporate office and hand them a bag to say, thank you for featuring us in your magazine. From there, we went to the toy audition and we're sitting at FAO Schwartz at their top floor. There's toys all around. People are there with their cool little inventions. Some are super secret, like you don't know what they have. Some are just chit-chatting and showing off their toy or game or whatever they have. People are walking into this office and 20, 30 seconds later, walking out. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like we did not come here for a 20-second conversation. So I'm sitting there, I'm talking to the kid next to me. He's telling me about his toy. He's telling me how he lives in China. He's a sourcing agent for other toy companies. He gives me his card. I'm thinking, we'll probably need to know you if they pick up our toy. This is great. I'll keep your card. We walk into the toy audition and they loved it. They kept us in there for about 30 minutes. It was such a thrill to talk to people that know what good toys are, and to feel so validated by that was such a thrill. So we walked out knowing we had to fulfill on this huge order that we could not possibly have come up with the money for it. We had no money right then. My husband was still in law school at BYU, and my friend was as poor as could be. So $0. And here we are thinking we have to go to China. We've got to figure out a sourcing agent. We have to get all this money. We've got to, make 100,000 bags, all this stuff. And so what happens is we are flying home. We are standing at the airport, getting on a plane, and a guy in front of us is just chatting. Oh, where are you guys from? What are you guys doing here? Are you going home? Or you live here? You tell him why we're here. The next phrase out of his mouth, he says, "You probably need funding for that." I'm like, who are you? What's going on? What angels are dropping down in New York City at the airport? What's going on? I mean, obviously I'm thinking like, he's probably hitting on my friend. Like what person's like, and here's some money. So I didn't give him a lot of credit, or I didn't think that was real. Our flight ended up being delayed about 3 hours. We sat next to him and he told us all about his friend Mark Campbell, and he is a venture capitalist that runs a venture capitalist almost like an angel networking fund out of Utah, U of U. The next day I was in Mark's office downtown Salt Lake City, and they funded all of it. We called the guy on the car that I had sat to in New York City, and Adam was our sourcing agent in China. So we ran a whole bunch of product. We were at the International Toy Fair in New York City the following February. And from there, we landed about 30 accounts right off the bat, which does not sound like a lot, but I was on the bottom floor of the handmade brand new people that don't get a lot of credit. And I had the people that were next to us coming up and being like, who are you guys? Like, why are you getting orders? You should be upstairs. We were next to Elf on the Shelf, who was launching that same year. Ugly Dolls was there. Taggies, like these big companies that a lot of people know now if you're in the toy world. So that is kind of the story of Peekaboo Bags. We built it off of going to Toy Fair and me calling random toy shops saying like, oh, I just noticed that you don't carry our products yet. You should. And then they'd say, sure, send me 24 bags. But I think that as an entrepreneur, we get so stuck in thinking there's a way to do it, and there's just not. And once you get in the trenches, you realize everyone's just making this up. Like, there is not a way. There's you, your idea, your passion, and your ability to overcome your own fear to get out there and hustle. And that really is, when you hear all the people on how I built this, that's what you hear over and over. People, there's not a way, right? Like, all their stories are very different. The one thing is they did it. They kept showing up. They made it happen. They did whatever it took. And a lot of times you've got to a little bit fake it so that people have the confidence that you have about your product and your brand and your service and what you are going to be the expert of. So fast forward several years later, I went through a divorce. I moved. I went back to, I shouldn't say back to corporate America. I got a job in corporate America. I had never been employed ever in my life, but a really good job. And I got that because I could market myself really well. And so when you get really good at marketing, your beliefs that will follow you through everything you do in life. We're always looking for this magic button, but really the magic button is you. I have this saying that if something's missing, it's probably you. And I talk about that with my whole team. Like if something's not going right in this job, if you're not feeling fulfilled, if something's wrong as far as like the systems, it's because you aren't bringing your talent, your passion, your compassion, all of those things to the table. And so I'll ask them like, what's going on with you? Like, are you showing up or are you just focused on like the systems of the job? Especially as an entrepreneur, you have to realize that it's you. It's literally coming out of you what you're creating. And so you have to bring all of you to it, right? You have to bring your passion, your joy, all of the things that you have to offer this. It's more than the product you're creating. People are buying you. And that's something that I learned and I try to incorporate into everything I do. When you see our brand Love Woolies, the interesting thing about Love Woolies is my parents started it 12 years ago. So 12 years ago, my sister lived on an elk ranch and she would go out on a tractor and feed all these elk. And she has Raynaud's disease, which is horrible circulation in your hands. Like they turn white, they hurt, it's horrible. So her friend made her these mittens made out of old wool sweaters, now known as Bernie mittens, right? Anybody? Did you guys see the Bernie mittens? Okay, so you guys know what I'm talking about. That is the mittens that we make. So my dad, being an entrepreneur, loved the idea. I thought it was such a good product. He was so excited about it and thought, let's make a bunch. They had experience from other companies being at the Christmas gift show, and he knew the mittens would just be a hit at the Christmas gift show. So he had my mom and her friends make about 500 mittens. They went to the Christmas gift show in Salt Lake City and sold out. Crazy. So for 5 years, my parents lived on the income of their mitten business, Love Woolies. And 5 years into it, they decided they were done. They were moving to Arizona to take care of grandma. And they asked me if I wanted it. I wasn't doing anything at the time. I thought, sure, I know enough about it. It's about Christmas. It'll be a good extra income. And they sold their house before it was on the market. So the day they had the conversation, do you want this? It was kind of like, we'll help you get it over the next couple of months. And then next day they called and they said, we're bringing it now. Like, move your car out of your garage. And that's what we did. We had to pay to park our car on the street. And we moved our car out of our tiny townhouse garage. And we became a mitten factory in my tiny garage in the middle of November. And it was in the middle of the season. I had a 6-month-old baby. I would put my snow pants on. I would bundle her up in her snow clothes. I would put her in her bouncer next to the little space heater, and I would cut sweaters all day long. I do not sew anything. I am horrible at sewing. So we always have had a seamstress, and the seamstresses always have worked from their own home. So all I was doing was cutting sweaters, washing sweaters, cutting sweaters, matching all the pieces. And then my seamstresses would pick up from my house, sew them, and bring them back. Then on the weekends, I would pack up my car, go to the market, set up a booth, and sell. And that's how I started Love Woolies, in snow pants in my garage with my baby. So for 3 years, it felt like I was doing mom and dad's company. I mean, even at the markets, they were all my parents' friends. They just asked, like, how's Matt and Lisa doing? And then if my parents were in town, they'd come to the booth and see all their old friends. And it really felt like I was just there running mom and dad's company. And it was super not fulfilling at all. I don't have a passion for repurposing. Sorry if you do. Like, I don't. It has become a passion of mine, but I wasn't in it to save the world from sweaters. That was not the thing. And 3 years into it, I wasn't paying myself. I was spending every other weekend at a farmer's market selling mittens. I was selling mittens in July at 100-degree weather. You guys, I have every tagline that you could possibly think of to try to sell mittens in 100-degree weather. So let's see, they're hotter in the summer, right? Yeah, hot and ready mittens. I've got winter guarantee. So if winter doesn't come, we'll give you your money back, right? All the things. You have got to hustle. If you want to sell mittens in July, you just gotta be really creative. But we did. We sold mittens all year round in Utah, even in 100 degrees, and it was awesome. Finally, I got to the point where I was kind of done, and I was in conversation with someone to sell it. And I was really torn because it felt like the family business. I felt like a responsibility to keep it. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't passionate about it. It didn't fulfill me. It didn't wake me up in the morning. And I knew that I had so much more to offer. So then we started making these scrunchies. I didn't even think I should have brought product to show you, but you'll have to go to loveliz.com and check it out. We make these scrunchies, and the scrunchies are made from cashmere. And I got invited to do a scrunchie tutorial for a young women's group. And so I go, and they wanted me to share this inspiring message. So I take a sweater. Oh, I should have brought a sweater. I didn't even think about this. I do podcasts all the time, so I don't do the visual part. Okay, so imagine a sweater. And it has holes in it. It's just a horrible looking sweater. It has all these holes. And I'm showing this sweater, and I'm showing how, I am this sweater. And when I was in high school and my boyfriend broke up with me, like, there's a little rip here. I felt very damaged. And then I failed a class, got kicked off the dance team. There's more holes in me. Then I got fired from a job, more holes, like had a miscarriage, more holes. Like, I am now this broken mess that can never be fixed. And then if you start cutting it up and you cut the holes out and you look past the holes and you look to everything that is good in this, what appears to be horrible sweater, it can no longer be used as a sweater. Then you can make things that are beyond your imagination, like mittens and scrunchies and these beautiful socks and hats and baby bows and pillows and all the things we do. And after we shared that message, one of the women in the room came up to me and said, you should speak at Pinner's Conference. Pinner's Conference is this crafting conference, business, like a maker's handmade business conference. And they are all over the nation. I think they have 8. And she said, you should speak there and you should teach this. And in that moment, my passion for telling my stories from my life and my belief that there is joy in the flaws, that in the middle of darkness, you can find joy. And I had been talking about that with my own life experiences on Facebook, just sharing some of my experiences, but I didn't recognize how that connected to my business. And in that moment, I realized what I had been doing and my passions, my values, my beliefs, my life experiences were my company values. So again, going back to, you have to show up in your business, not just your know-how, but you as who you were created to be. And in order to do that, you have to find out who you are. And we could talk a lot about that, but sticking with how this happened, what I ended up doing is we ended up saying, we changed all of our branding. All of our branding went from be warm, be happy to create joy from the flaws. And I developed a workshop called Joy from the Flaws, which is basically what I just explained. It's like this 4-step process on how you find joy in your life. And I will walk you through the various steps correlating with our business on how we create these mittens into how you do that in your life with yourself. And then I traveled around the US teaching that Joy from the Flaws workshop. And with every one of our scrunchies comes a card that says, we hope this serves as a reminder for you to go and create joy from the flaws in your life. And we feature women that are going through some dark times and how they are creating joy in the middle of their dark times, anywhere from mental health to loss to sickness, and how they're creating joy. Because a lot of times we hear those stories about how people overcame them and now life is good, but we want to feature how you can do it right now where you stand. You don't have to wait to be fixed. And that wakes me up in the morning. That makes me want to make more mittens. That makes me want to make more scrunchies. So what happened is we start inserting this message and start featuring people. And that gave us room to collaborate with people, to invite people onto lives that we didn't ever have a reason to do that before. So now we're collaborating with people. We're saying, hey, we want to feature your story. We're becoming friends with people. We're sending scrunchies out. So here's a scrunchie, tell us your story. We're trading. We're doing these really cool photography sessions. It just had this passion and energy, and we were lifting people. And that was a lot more satisfying than just making mittens and scrunchies. So then masks happened, right? Then pandemic land. So good. It sounds crazy, but best year of my life. Thank you for the pandemic. So what happened was in February, it looked like we were about to do the best month ever in the history of our sales online. We were about to do $10,000 in scrunchies. Now, we had been a mitten company for so long. The fact that we could make that much doing scrunchies was nuts because we had been so seasonal. Normally, we would shut our company down in March and not even come back until July. And so the fact that we were going to be able to sell scrunchies all the way through made us like a year-round company. I wasn't going to have to tell my seamstresses, like, we'll see you in July. Everyone is going to be able to stay on. And I told everyone, if we do $10,000 this month, everyone's going to the spa. We're going to do, like, treat everyone. And that was in February of last year. So February last year, the pandemic is starting. The news is starting. We're getting this chatter about masks being needed. The CDC comes out, says, hey, we're asking people to make masks. Somebody sends me a message, says, hey, you've got seamstresses, you guys should make masks. So I go to the seamstresses, say, hey, would you guys be willing to donate 2 weeks of your time? We're going to stop production and we're going to make some masks. We can do it. Everyone was sewing from home, so we didn't have to shut down. They all said yes. We made 1,500 masks in 2 weeks and donated them. That got us pressed. So then the news was coming over. And then all of our customers heard we were making masks. I did not want to make masks because we love woolies. It doesn't make any sense for us to add a product that's not wool. I was like, we're not selling these. We're not putting them on our website. It doesn't make any sense. People will be like, are they wool? Are they repurposed? They weren't wool. They weren't repurposed. It didn't fit into our brand. Well, a majority of our customers are back east, and they were under a mask mandate before we were here in Utah. So we didn't really understand the need for masks yet. And people were messaging us like, please sell us a mask. We don't even know where to get masks. We can't go to the grocery store. Like, can you please send me a mask? And what's it going to take for you to send me a mask? And we were really committed to donating them. So we ended up saying for every mask sold, we would donate a mask. So then it would fund our ability to keep making them and donating them. So the day we launched the masks, I'll never forget. It was, I think, 8:00 at night, and I pressed the button to make the masks available. I know Facebook ads, okay, not an expert, but enough that I could create a Facebook ad. I was like, oh, I might as well create a Facebook ad. Obviously, people don't know where to get these. I'll just put live on this Facebook ad. That night, We sold 800 masks. I had never seen Shopify like be able to go to those numbers before. I kept just refreshing. Like, how are we going to make these? So the next day we brought on 10 new seamstresses. The next day we sold another 1,000 masks. So we had just done $10,000 in sales in February. We ended March at $134,000 in mask sales. Like, I couldn't even compute the numbers, right? Like, I just stopped looking because I didn't know how to understand what to do with that or how that was happening. And it was just every entrepreneur's dream, honestly. I was in the basement. So we couldn't have my customer service person come. We couldn't have any of my order fulfillment people come. So me and my husband and my kids were in the basement with these makeshift tables and bins of masks and like stacks of orders like this big up till 3 a.m. And I would stand there just as bright as could be. I'd be like, husband, Tage, like, this, you're in it. This is my dream. And he's like, this is horrible. This is a horrible dream. But every day we would fill orders all day as fast as we could. And every day down to the wire, like 5 o'clock, I would leave my house and get to the post office, like with as many orders as we can. My entire back of my car would just be filled with orders, all masks, all kinds of crazy. And then obviously, because all these people were coming to our website, our scrunchie sales started going up. So now we had to do scrunchies on top of masks, and it was crazy. My basement was just insane, not enough space. So from that, we knew we were getting closer and closer to fall, and we were maxed out capacity wise with making the masks. We didn't have space to make all of our wool items. And so we got a warehouse. Getting a warehouse was like a miracle in and of itself. I was terrified to move. I mean, I had gone almost 4 years just in my basement, being able to work when my kids went to bed. And now I was going to have to like have a rent and go to work. Terrified it wasn't going to work out. The rent was going to be like $1,800 a month. And mind you, it was like a $10,000 a month was our best month ever. So taking on $1,800 a month was very scary. So we made the jump. Oh, you can probably hear my dogs. Sorry. We made the leap and we went in, and since February, we have never done a month lower than 60,000. And it has blown my mind. I still sit in awe. And what happened is mask sales, as soon as I think it was August, Walmart, Target, Old Navy, you could get masks everywhere and anywhere, right? And so our mask sales dropped off. We ended up donating about 90,000 masks in the end to schools, to Navajo Nation, to, I mean, everywhere that would take masks, we would send them their way. One of the things that is kind of fun talking to entrepreneurs, something that came to my mind, we had a school ask for a donation, and I thought, oh, I'll just send you a box. Well, we had sent at that point about 25,000 masks to healthcare facilities, and we have one contact for 25,000 masks, but then 25,000 people are getting those masks, which would be really great if we could have those people as customers, or at least have their emails so we can let them know, like, if you want more masks, you can get them here. But we didn't have a way of doing that other than just like this one person's email and hoping that they would like share our information. So when schools started asking, I had this genius idea that instead of sending them a box of masks, we would create a coupon code for free masks. So then we would say, yeah, we'll donate a mask per student. Here's an email, have every family go onto our website and pick out whatever mask they want, and we will send it to them. And did I make money on that? No, I did not make money on that. It cost me money to do that. But here's the thing. I got into, I think it ended up being 25 schools, East Coast, so in cold states. So pick cold states that I knew could convert to mitten sales eventually. I would contact schools, say, do you need masks? They'd say yes. I say, this is how it works. Let us know. They'd say, great, we'll send an email out right away. I would get my brand sent out to 500 families, and all these people would come on and get their free mask. Then we could market to them all of our other stuff. Because even if you have really good chapstick and you call a school and we're like, we want to give a chapstick to every student, they're not going to put you on their email. But masks, like boom, everyone needed a mask. Everyone wanted it free. And that was just right place, right time with the right thing that everyone needed. And they were like, sure, we'll put your name on anything, whatever. And we were able to find some incredible markets in really great places. Like we would just find all the schools in Philadelphia, call all the schools in Connecticut, call all the schools here, like just get the masks out and get the customers in. And so we acquired about 30,000 customers doing that. And that was nice. We felt like we could do something good, but we were also acquiring customers. One thing that I've learned, and you'll want to note this down, somebody told me this, any social media followings that you have, you do not own that. They can shut you down in a second. The only thing you own is your email list. And I think there's so much weight put on social media right now that when I understood that my email list is all I own, that is everything I put my dime into. If I can't get your email, like it's not worth as much, right? As far as my marketing, my whole goal is to make sure they come and somehow I can contact them. So that's something to make sure you put in in your entrepreneur bucket, that you don't own your social media, you don't own your Facebook, you don't own your followers. Even if you have an Etsy store, you're not allowed to contact your people or market to them. So put a lot of weight in your email list. So here we are, we're kind of done with masks. We're like, yay, we got through Christmas. We're like, okay, break time, we're done. Then January 20th, inauguration day, good old Bernie with his cute little mittens blew us out of the water. I cannot describe to you, it was a thrill to be in my basement fulfilling on masks. It's a different feeling when it's your product that people love. Like masks are not my product. We were just trying to help the world. Mittens are everything we've ever done. And for mittens to go viral, I don't even know, right? Like at that point, I was like, God can do anything he wants. Like if he wants to make the world laugh with sweater mittens, like I will just be here making the mittens. And obviously with our joy from the flaws, it just, everything fit in. We were just primed and ready. And something that I believe deeply in is pausing and listening. I think as an entrepreneur, I have run a lot of my life spinning out of control and doing like the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing as fast as I possibly can and doing all of it. And guess what happens when we do that? It creates zero room for miracles. Zero. Like we're like not even letting God clock in ever. And so what I've gotten really good at is clocking out and letting miracles happen and getting out of the way. And a lot of times things well beyond your abilities can happen. Just a week ago, we moved into a 7,000 square foot warehouse, and it is more space than I need right now, but it allows for us to have creativity. And it just goes to show, like when you create space and the possibility for things outside of your imagination, it gives room for those to actually happen. And I can't stress enough that as an entrepreneur, you've got to stop and you have to allow things beyond your ability to happen. And that means you have to clock out. And that means you have to trust the stuff that you cannot control. And that means that when You feel like this is crazy. Why would I get this 7,000 square foot building? And on January 20th, I walked into four different buildings to look for a new warehouse space. When I walked out of this 7,000 square foot building, I felt like that's home. And I thought, that's insane. We don't need that much space. How would I ever come up with a deposit? And that is the same night that within 3 hours, we sold more mittens. I mean, we made our deposit in 3 hours. And I was like, okay, like I will get out of the way. We did in 10 days. We sold more mittens than we did in the entire year. So just to put this in context, we sold like 70 men's mittens all year last year. In 10 days, we sold 200. You know, we did like 766 women's mittens in 10 days. Last year, I think we sold 452. So I don't know what mitten sales will look like this year, but we're preparing for like 10 times what we've ever seen. And if I could leave you with anything, it would be, you have to show up in your business with what thrills your soul, because that is the reason you have a platform and a company and a product that is going out to people beyond you, is because you have something to give. The next thing is pause and let God clock in once in a while and let miracles happen, because it will. It will show up. Sorry, that's where we're at.
Thank you so much for sharing. I personally can feel your passion. I already inspired to go out and conquer the world. I know you have to go. Do you have time for maybe like
yes, I would love to answer a few questions.
Okay, awesome. Logan, do you want to address the questions in the chat?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the questions that Taffy actually asked is, when you feel like you've tried everything you can, but the campaign isn't really working out, you're not getting the sales that you want, what are the ways that you found best to like overcome that, to like find new solutions?
One, you've got to chill out. Sometimes you do have to let things ride. And it kind of goes back to making sure you're not getting in the way. A lot of times your own fears are the very thing that don't let you give yourself enough time. I do this all the time with my Facebook ads. I'll be like, it's not working. And my Facebook ads coach will be like, it's been 24 hours, right? Like, it has to at least run for 7 days. And I'm like, but it's not working. A lot of times it's you and your fear that are telling you that it's not working. It's just time. So most of the time it's, you give it enough time, you have to calm down and make the best decisions. One of my favorite things that I ask myself that seems to be the most effective for me and my team is, instead of like, how can I fix this? What's wrong? Where's the button that I broke, right? Like, we always feel like that. I must have hit a button. Like, there's a button I should be pushing or something I'm not pushing. Like, where's the thing? And a lot of times the question is not how to fix it. The question is, where can I be the most useful right now? And a lot of times where you can be the most useful is to calm down. Whether you're high or you're low, you need to find some calm in there so you can listen to your inspiration. You have answers in you. And I believe in pure inspiration from heaven and angels, and people will show up and you will get answers, but you've got to calm down and be quiet long enough to hear them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Taffy, if you want to ask your second question.
Yeah, I do have a second question. So if you need to maybe summarize the success of your company or business, maybe the top 3 reasons, what would that be? Like, why your business success? Yeah, miracles?
Miracles. Me getting out of the way of the miracles, allowing things to not be my way. You know, if I thought that I was the one that was making this happen, none of this would have happened. None of it. Because I would have been too scared. or I've been trying to do it the way I thought it should go. And so a lot of this is me getting out of the way, trusting that miracles happen. And the third one is probably trusting my team, not doing it myself, knowing that I needed other people. There was no way I could do this by myself, and I needed talent that I did not possess.
Thank you. I do have like a similar business idea the same as you. So will you can I connect you on LinkedIn or something? How can
I would love
contact
to.
you later that we can?
Yeah, I will drop my email here, or you can even DM me on Instagram, just Love Woolies, or you can email me at Marcella at Love Woolies. If you want to put that in the chat, Marcella at lovewoolies.com.
I can go ahead and put that in the chat for you, Taffy.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer anything. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. I am going to be launching, I've had so much requests for coaching and a lot of business coaching. I am launching a business coaching program May 1st. So you can watch for that. And if you're interested in more information, just email me and I will make sure you're on that email list to get that information. I'm with 5 students right now doing our 6-week program as a preview, and it is going so good. So I'm even more excited to help you guys out if you need that.
Can I ask a question? I think you're awesome, by the way. This is Ann Springer.
Hi.
Hi. I've been fangirling hard in the chat. So I like, yes, preach all the things. Yes, yes, yes. And so my question, because I was also a momtrepreneur, I sometimes dislike that phrase, but I was definitely a mom who ran my own business, and like I was so related to your snowsuit story. Like if only people could see what's going on behind the scenes, they would maybe not be so impressed, but right? Or maybe they're more impressed. I don't know. Like I'm multitasking big time, right? So
yes.
And I get that question all the time from female students. So like they want to have it all and they feel like, is that possible? How do you do it? You know, like I think the pandemic's highlighted how hard life can be for moms that want to work. So what advice do you have as a former single parent, it sounds like, and been through some stuff? What advice would you give to students who ask about that?
Well, not even just students, like everyone in the world. I think we have really got to drop our idea of the way we think things are supposed to be, right? Like you think you're supposed to be you think being a good mom looks like this list here. And you think being a good dad looks like this, and a good wife looks like this, and a good housekeeper looks like this. Who says? Who decided that? I don't know. I don't know who gave us those lists. And I think those are the things that keep us from doing what we should be doing. And it's going to go back to my same 3 answers. You have to be brave enough to listen to how your life is good, what you show up as a good mom. And the way I show up as a good mom, some people would be like, that's not my good mom list. Today, I literally saw my kids for like 10 minutes. But guess what? I can tell you that I am exactly where God needs me to be as much as I possibly can be. And I try to do that every day. And that is going to look very, very different than my neighbor. And that is okay. That is okay. The problem that's happening when people ask that is they know what's in them to do. That's what's happening. They know what's in them and it doesn't fit in this box. And that is scary. It is very scary. But once you let the box go, just put it in the garbage, right? Like that is the very thing. It's like the holes in the sweater. That is the very thing that is keeping you from the unimaginable. Who says that you have to fit this list? You just don't. And I think the answer to those people is like, well, what's your version of having it all? Is it your version or is it what everyone says is all? I don't know. My answer.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions before we let Marcella get to her interview?
I guess I just have one question for you. This is just my own question.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when was what was the moment that you kind of changed from just seeing the company as just like a product, like, okay, I just sell mittens, to like a company, just like difference between just a company and a product, basically.
I love that question because I forget that this happened. So I told you this story of when I shared that little message with the young women's group that sparked it. But what happened after that, I went to a crafting conference with like probably 500 women. And I was with some friends. And as a marketing campaign, I gave them all scrunchies one day. And I said, just give these away, just hand them out, because we weren't selling scrunchies very much right then. And I wanted to just get all of these scrunchies out. So I thought, okay, if we can just get them out, then people will come to our website, they'll want more. But I told them, when you give this scrunchie to a woman, instead of just handing her a scrunchie, I want you to tell her, this is a reminder that you can create joy despite the flaws in your life. Like, you have to tell her that. And honestly, you guys, it was just marketing. Like, for me, I was like, this is gonna be great. Like, everyone's gonna be like, feel good, they want to buy my scrunchies, and we'll make lots of money. It was still about the product. It was still about selling scrunchies. And this is what happened. There were conversations happening all day. Tears, people's souls were like broken open. I had women walking up to me with their scrunchie on their wrist, holding my arms, saying, are you the girl that made the scrunchie? Hugging me, telling me their whole life story. It was like no one had ever told them that they could have joy. And that was my moment. That was my moment that I was like, why don't these women know? Why don't people know that you don't have to wait to be fixed? Why don't people know that you can have joy right then? And that is when I knew, this is what we're doing. We're not selling scrunchies anymore. We're selling a reminder that you can have joy right now where you stand, and we can teach it. And I get really emotional thinking about that, because I've watched lives being changed. My life has been changed from that concept. And now it's funny because I'll write emails or copy, and then at the bottom I'm like, oh yeah, and buy some scrunchies, right? Like, it's just like an afterthought. It just happens to be the avenue. And quite frankly, I've always been a little bit bugged that what we make isn't going to change the world. And then when Bernie Mittens happened, I was like, boom, like, we just made the whole world laugh with sweater mittens. And I think that is just goes to show that if you are showing up where you need to show up, God will use you. If God can use sweater mittens to make the world laugh, he can do whatever he wants. You just have to be willing to show up and believe that he's using you for all the things that he needs to. And he can use flawed people and messed up people, and you will do it your own messy way, and he will still use that. Sorry, that's a really long answer to the question, but I just get so passionate about it. Like, that is really what we sell. We sell the joy from the flaws.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it so much. I'm sure everybody got so much out of you sharing your story. I personally did. And like I said, I feel like I can go and conquer the world now.
Yes.
But thank you so much. I know you have to run, but it was so nice to meet you. And
well, this is such a pleasure. Please don't hesitate. You know, I think that a lot of times we think people are like doing these big things. It's just me. Like, I don't have this overwhelming inbox. Like, please message me. Just message me. We'll chat. I love helping people with their business. Like, please do not think that I'm literally sitting in my kid's bedroom right now, like on their bed, you know, it's fine. I got to eat my dinner, right? I mean, we're just a regular person. Just email me. I'd love to help you. Don't hesitate.
You're awesome.
Thank you so much. I left her email in the chat box if you guys want to copy and paste that really fast before I end the meeting. And I also put her LinkedIn there. So feel
you
free
guys
to
don't float away, okay? Stay dry.
I know, seriously, it stopped raining, so Hopefully,
I want to come to Hawaii when it's not raining. So
yes, you definitely should. Come in April. That's the best month to be here.
Okay, just invite
Okay.
me. I'll get on a plane.
Okay, you're invited. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you for coming.
Have a great day.